Whiteville, Virginia. Just had breakfast. Slower start to the day because we're not going to try to make it all the way home today. It's cold. It's like 30 degrees out, just below freezing. And we have precipitation. So hopefully we don't have to hit any ice or snow today on the road. Just doing a strap check. We'll be hitting it. I remember when I moved to Nashville, when we were loading up my W108 Mercedes that was static, and we had to block and block and block, and it kept dragging and dragging. We couldn't get on your trailer, and you went, boy, I'm gonna be glad when you grow out of this. And here we are 12 years later. Literally blocking.
Maybe I've grown into it.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happened.
Life's an adventure.
Yep. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We have finally done it. We're moved back up to New Hampshire just in time for the snow and the ice. This morning the roads were sheer ice, as you could imagine. Thanksgiving week. So this is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and you've seen a little bit of us loading up and heading up here. This was our final, what turned out to be our fourth and fifth 1,000-mile haul back home to New Hampshire from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Thanks to my father. My parents came down with his 30-foot gooseneck trailer. We were able to fit my fastback and Kayla's 944 on the trailer, including everything we could fit. Also my lift. We were able to fit my BendPak lift on the trailer with the cars, and it turned into a 2.5-day trip up because of weather that we hit, and it was just, it seemed like the final but the longest trip up here. So we're here in central New Hampshire, just 15 minutes from my hometown, from where my father's shop is and where my other projects have been since I moved to Tennessee. So we're home. Just the wrong time of year to do it. It's cold. We got snow. We got all that coming very, very soon. The move is finally done, but the work is not over. We have so much unpacking and organizing to do, not just in the house, but in the shop. If you've been watching the most recent episodes, you'll see that my father and I have been building this shop space out to just be able to work out of. I mean, it wasn't even really ready at all to work out of in any capacity. We're moving forward on that, and I really don't know where this episode's gonna end up. I'm just trying to document the process of getting this place ready to work and make it somewhat nice. It's an old building. You guys may have noticed it's a 2-tier shop, which is the most unfortunate part. This bay is lower than this bay, and there's no gradual transition. It's just a step inside the shop. But this bay here had about a 3-inch step from the pavement to the concrete pad with no transition at all. And the driveway kind of slopes down to the shop. But this had a 3-inch step that went all the way across, and I had hit the Corvair's engine a couple of times backing it in already. So my Uncle Tim, my father's brother, owns a paving company. So I hit him up and said, hey, if you are in the area paving and have any extra pavement left over, would it be possible to transition this? They showed up the other day and they got right to work, and they did far more than I expected them to. They heated up the old pavement, they tacked it, and did a great job. More than I expected. I mean, I was planning on just buying a bag or two of Quickcrete and just making some sort of transition. This was great. So huge thanks to my Uncle Tim and his crew for coming out here and just adding a real nice transition to this so we can get the cars in easily, especially the low ones. at what I have ahead of me. The shop is literally packed full of all of my stuff. Man, and I gotta go through all of it. The lift is down here as well. We gotta get that up right in this bay sooner than later. The man door up against the wall, that's gonna go right there on the right side of the two bay doors. Man, the laser machine, which is the largest unit I have, that's got to go in that far room that we've been working on in the previous episodes. So I haven't been documenting the unloading process at all because I've just been so overwhelmed, and also wasn't sure how much you guys wanted to see any of this stuff either. But this is what I'm dealing with. This is what's on my plate right now. This pocket is open only because I'm literally vacuuming the floor. We've been doing so much woodwork in here, and we had the electricians hanging the lights in here, that there was just a perpetual amount of sawdust and just work dust everywhere on everything. So that is what I'm currently working on. And the house looks like this too. I mean, it's a little bit better than this, but we are living amongst boxes and totes. We're still trying to set up the house. I'm trying to set up my office and order fulfillment area. It's obvious we have less space here than I had in the shop in Chattanooga. But I can't stress this enough. The whole point was to move home to New Hampshire to be close to my family and be able to work on my projects with my father, get back working on the cab over, on the bus, some of the big projects. We're 15 minutes, next town over from my parents' place. But the main thing we're working on in this episode today is the laser machine room. The room that we've now opened up that you've seen in the previous episodes. We put that window in, or the pass-through technically. We opened this doorway up. This was already a door, but it was a hallway right here. We took an interior wall out, put this header in, did all this OSB work. We insulated walls, insulated this wall, insulated the ceiling. We have yet to finish this. This is where we're starting today. We did new stringers, strapping, insulation, poly. This was originally the insulated wall, as you can see. So all that was insulated was the shop. So we've now pushed the heated aspect of the shop back. We've insulated this outside wall, this interior wall. This goes to the other part of the building where my friend Ross's car collection will be. And we've put this door in. So my father's on his way over right now with his woodworking job trailer, and we're gonna get right back to getting this room sorted out. The last piece of plywood in the laser shop. All right, we're back to it, and my father's working on trimming our window space out. As you can see, a lot of the sheetrock and plaster work or whatever hangs out farther than the new studs that we put in and down below the new header we put in. So we're just trimming that up using the trusty old, I don't even know what these things are called.
Oscillating multi-tool.
Exactly. I've got the Milwaukee version. He's got the rigid version. Just trimming that out, and then we'll take some measurements for our trim. Something simple, just using a 1x. We're gonna rip these in half probably, so they're like a 1x2. And we've got some wider pieces that we'll use on the inside. So there's a little bit of like a shelf, and then trim on the outside.
I am not Bob Vieler, and this is not Barnwood Fixer-Upper.
Yeah, this is not HGTV. All right, well, with the exception of the old hallway ceiling and header side of this part of the room, everything's painted with the roller. Plywood is not the easiest to roller paint on. This probably would have been best to spray paint. What I'm gonna do next is finish rollering this part of the ceiling and then have to go around everything with a brush because we gotta fill in all the nail holes. You can see around the whole wall. Obviously the corners, gonna do all the edges and corners. It's getting there. Stoked on the colors. But while I do that, my father's working on, in that tight little corner over there, the man door I was telling you guys about. The little 30-inch man door that's gonna go in over here so we don't have to keep using the overhead doors to enter this place. Every time you wanna leave, you gotta use the overhead door. You could walk through the rest of the big building, but that's a pain and a nuisance as well. So, fate would have it, there's barely enough space over here next to this overhead door. Down here, there's not enough room, and the breaker panel's there. This side was barely enough room for a 30-inch door, and what he's doing now is just getting a look at what on earth is in behind that wall. And I don't know, looking good?
Yeah. I can make a hole.
Yeah. The LiftMaster Auto Lock box is gonna, I mean, maybe?
You might just run into it every time you come in.
Yeah, it'll be just in the way. Yeah.
If we can move it up,
Yeah.
put it up here.
It's gonna stay away from the door motor, which is good.
Barely.
Yeah, barely. But for how low these tracks are, if you guys remember the first episode I posted of this place, for some reason, I don't know if they had this door left over from something, there's no reason why these tracks should be this low. Those should be hugged up to the ceiling far more than they are. And because of that, this motor, or this door rather, got a side motor. So the main motor didn't hang down super, super low. This was a manual door until Ross bought the place. And we decided to put a side motor on that door so we could put the lift where the old motor used to be. And then this one got a side motor too, so it's powered. And luckily it might be out of the way of this door frame. All right, well, my dad's in the wall now. We haven't cut through the exterior wall yet, but he just found something of major concern. His words were, I think I may have just prevented this place from burning down, and he's not kidding. And this is a good example of if you're pulling a wire through a wall, maybe keep an eye on what's happening if it's coming real hard, because inside this is a power line that looks like that. I don't know if you can see on camera that it's been scraped all the way down until it caught the housing of the wire and ripped it all, exposing the wires inside. So something was pulled down.
Yeah, it was not coming quietly.
Unbelievable. And that was literally inside the insulation. Inside the wall. That goes down to that power box.
The overhead door outlet.
Unbelievable. Whoever pulled that line out
Yeah.
could have very well have burnt this place to the ground.
At some point.
Yep.
At some point.
I'm glad we're putting the door here.
Yeah.
We never would have opened it up otherwise.
No.
All right, guys, we are done painting for now. Actually, I think we're just done painting. And it is just the way I wanted it. I just went around this whole room with a tiny little paintbrush and dabbed in paint in every single nail hole. I didn't film it because I just wanted to get it done, and it made a world of difference because on the ceiling, I haven't done that. Let's just pretend like they're stars or constellations or something. But you can see some of the light spots where the nail gun drove the nails through, and roller painting it didn't cover it. I don't think I filmed it yet, but my dad finished the trim on the window opening here. Super simple. Just ripped down some 1x to like a 2.5 inch wide. So it's like a 1 by 2.5. Went around the window opening. We've got ourselves a sill. This will be nice once we open up into the shop. But this is painted, finally. It's just so crazy to see this area as one room, all plywood, all the lumber's done and painted. So the last thing I'm gonna do in this episode, and for the night, because it's getting late, is hang lights. So hopefully I can get that done tonight. So I'm planning on just using some cheap LED lights that I brought back up from Chattanooga. I had the shop there lit with these like T4, I think they're called. I got on Amazon. They really seem to last quite a long time. I only had a few burn out over the 3 years I was down there, and the lights were on every single day. So I'm gonna run a handful of those that you can hard connect together to create longer strips. And then on the other side of the header, maybe just one row going this way. This outlet and this one are my only two outlets on the ceilings. So I'm gonna have to bore a hole through the header to get my leader cable over to this side, so I'm not running it down and under the header so it looks silly. All right, guys, well, that's all we have time for in this episode. I didn't quite get to the lights underneath the hallway, or the old hallway. I'm gonna do that tomorrow, but we've just run out of time in this episode. So I've got 3 rows of lights up tentatively. They're just wired straight to this outlet. I'm not going to hardwire them through the ceiling or anything like that, but I am going to mount a power strip to the header so these leaders aren't quite so stretched out, and I'll end up stapling them to the header so they're tucked up nice and tight. But for now, that's where I'm leaving it off. I have to edit this episode tonight because it's Saturday night, and I try my best to do Sunday morning uploads. So I'm gonna edit the night away. And with that in here, you can really get a good idea on camera how much this floor actually slopes to that drain, which is, again, the worst part of this room. But this was one of the washrooms for the dairy farm that this property was before now. And yeah, they designed it to have water flow right to that drain. So I'm gonna have to get creative with the laser machine, my desk, any shelving, you know, so everything will look somewhat level, even though the floor will not be. But I think I'm gonna have the laser machine right here. I want enough standing room open for that window space just to be able to hang out and put a cup of coffee on it and just kind of look out into the shop. But for now, we have made leaps and bounds in this room. We're getting there. This room has been priority, as I've mentioned in the previous episodes, so I can get my laser machine in here, get it turned back on. And that is ultimately what my day job is. Running the machine, making merchandise, leather key rings, leather patches for garments, you know, merchandise for businesses, even sometimes awards for car shows. I am stoked. I really am. It's just a ludicrous amount of work. I mean, you guys are seeing it. Huge thanks to all of you who purchased the 1000 SP shirt. Those went super fast. Grateful for all of your support there. Don't forget, if you subscribe to the Patreon, you get a discount code to everything on the web store all the time, including early access to things like the 1000 SP shirt drop, which sold out in about 15 minutes. So if you want to help support the channel and the builds and this shop build out, basically this insanity, head to the Patreon link in the video's description below. All of your support there is massively appreciated. That's it for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.